Saludos mi gente y bienvenidos de nuevo a Auténtico Boxing y hoy tengo un talento boricua que ha sido criado en lo que es la ciudad de Newark, New Jersey, pero nos está representando, siempre habla de representar la bandera y yo creo que es importante que conozcamos estos prospectos. Hoy con nosotros Keith Tsunami Colón. Keith, thank you very much, champ.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
Of course, of course. As I was speaking with you before the interview, I like to get to know some of the young Puerto Rican prospects. I know that you're just 22 years old and you're already making some noise in the platforms. You're viral with some of your highlights, and you've been known by the likes of Shakur Stevenson, of Asho Falcon, other fighters that recognize your talent. I want to know, Keith, first of all, what got you into boxing? Were you a fan or it was just because you were good and you were trying it? How did you get involved in this?
I got into boxing just because I was always small. So my dad, he knew I had to defend myself, going to school, playing sports, in the community. So he wanted me to be able to defend myself. But over time, I just kind of stuck with it, and learning how to defend myself led to me fighting and then competing in the nationals and so on and so forth.
Yeah, that's great. I think that many boxers don't start, like, for example, many kids just like to see the NBA, so they get into basketball. But many boxers are different because typically you come from, backgrounds that aren't the best, tough
Yeah,
situations, and some of you just make this to get a better life, and it's a great way to do
right,
it. Growing up, in Newark, New Jersey, near New York, I know that's like the mecca of boxing. I know that
yeah.
all the talent in the United States and worldwide wants to go to New York, train there, or at least have the experience to train in New York. As you were a kid, did you know that you were surrounded by greatness, or that you were in a situation in which you have experienced people at the highest level surrounded you, or you didn't understand that at that point?
No, I didn't understand it. In fact, for like growing up, it was kind of the opposite because even though New York is not too far, where I'm from, is not too many people that made it out, or claim Jersey or Newark. So with me, we didn't like I didn't have a role model until like people like Shakur Stevenson came out, and even then, a lot of people didn't know him,
Mhm.
and he was in the Olympics at the time. So a lot of people they just know the Olympics from seeing it on time to time on TV. But for me, I saw it, and it was something big for me because he was the first person from my city that I known that did anything positive. So that right there pushed me, and it made me want to follow in his footsteps, and it motivated me.
Yeah, I think that Shakur is like, the maybe the leader of this new generation that's growing up there. I know that, for example, Keyshawn Davis is not specifically but Newark, from Newark, but he's near New
Yeah.
Jersey. So I know that Shakur inspired a whole lot of fighters out there. Keith, growing up, did you have any like, not from your city as you told me, but any fighter that you followed that you liked his style, for example, Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao, any of these legends that inspire you to do things in boxing?
Oh yeah, no, definitely Kodo. I feel like Kodo definitely inspired me. Especially when he fought against Margarito, and at the time, I was just training. I wasn't competing. I was still a little kid. I was training. I wasn't going to the gym a lot. It was just I was going to the gym just to know how to protect myself. So at the time, it wasn't like I wasn't thinking about being a fighter, but I remember seeing those fights and seeing everything and like just the atmosphere. He I remember me watching a fight, and after the fight I'm just up shadow boxing, just he motivated me just to want to like keep on like going. I didn't know at the time what I wanted to do, but right then and there I just started throwing more punches. I'm like, dang, I'm practicing the punches that he throwing, the hooks to the body, and I'm trying to copy his stance. So it was just like I feel like Kodo really motivated me, and yeah, he's somebody that I really looked up to in the boxing game.
Yeah, I like to hear that because Cotto was my growing up. He was my favorite fighter because I'm
Yeah,
from Puerto Rico, so everybody mentions Tito, but I was too young for Tito. I
yeah,
grew up with Cotto,
Kodo.
Juanma Lopez, Ivan
Uh-huh.
Calderon, but Cotto specifically was the one that I follow most, and I think that this generation of Puerto Rican fighters or with Puerto Rican heritage recognize him as the leader of this
Right.
generation. um Talking about your style specifically, I know because I saw your interview with Sports Legend with my friend Junior, and I know that you spoke to him about that you're just growing in the sport. So you're
Right.
trying new things, you're trying, to get as more weapons as you can in your inventory. But if you can describe me your style, if someone has never seen you fight, how would you describe yourself in the ring?
I say I'm real calculated, or um I'm very precise, so when I throw with intentions, and like 9 times out of 10, I know I'm going to, connect. So I just take my time, compose, and I just try to stay smart. And with that, it just produce, a great show. Like sometimes it be knockouts, sometimes it be nice clean shots. So, but I feel like my style is a like boxer puncher.
Hmm.
I'm not super fast, but my skills and my technique allow me to, go in, execute, and come out without being hit.
Of course, I think that's a great style because it also allows you to not get punched that much. If you can
Right,
move around the ring and only enter to make damage, you don't get exposed to your
right.
opponent's shots. So I think it's a great style. And since the beginning of your amateur career, did you have that? Obviously, not with the style, maybe, but did you have that same style? You were always thinking about how to hurt your opponent, or were you like going in there just wanted to brawl it out?
In the beginning of my amateur career, like in a very like when I had from zero all the way to about 15 fights, I was just a fighter that I didn't have much defense. It was just a lot of offense, and I just hit. I was hitting very hard. So as I got older, and being around more coaches and understanding, that's when I learned that defense was just important as the offense, and that's when I really started to take my game to the next level. I really started to watch people's feet in the ring. I started analyzing footwork, head movement, defense, control, and I feel like that's when everything just took off for me. That's when I started, you know, climbing through the national ranks. That's when I started, beating notable names, and that's when everything just took off.
Yeah, I also think because I know that you were very successful as an amateur fighter because I saw a video that Overtime uploaded to their Instagrams and they gave like a resume of your career. I know that you've been very, very successful, but I also think that your style it's better for the pros than for the
Yeah,
amateurs because sometimes the amateur boxers just want to, like make points and throw a lot of volume, but your style I think fits perfectly for the pro ranks. I think it's a better style definitely. Right now I know that you're a fighter but also you're a student. You're
right,
at the university too, and
right.
these are two careers that some people only do that one thing. For example,
Hmm.
some people are just boxers, others are just students. How are you balancing that kind of schedule that you have to accomplish?
Yeah, I go to school in the like early in the day. I've been doing this since I was in high school, so I just kind of kept the same routine, the same regimen. Um, some days I still I'll run early, probably like at 8 a.m., 7 a.m. Then I go to school, have my classes in the middle of the day, all the way up to about 1 o'clock, 2:30, and then I'll be back at the gym around 3 or 4 o'clock. Whether that's even sparring, training, So that's how I'll kind of break down my day. It's difficult, but it's also doable, and it's a balance. It's like I feel like it works for me because I'm not too focused on just boxing and I'm not too focused on just school. You know, when I'm in
Mhm.
the gym, I focus on boxing. I focus on boxing, but then once I'm in school, I'm focused on my school. I'm not worried about boxing. It's a good balance.
That's cool. And growing up, when you started to have a successful amateur career, was there a moment in which you didn't want to study, that you wanted to go all in boxing, and your family maybe told you, "Hey, man, you can do the sport, but you also have to educate yourself." How did you come about that?
Definitely. It was multiple times I felt like that. Uh, it was the time when I was sparring Cool Boy Stephen Fulton, and he invited me to camp with him, and I couldn't because the camp was like he was preparing for his fight, and he was about like a month out, and so I would have missed a month worth of school, and I can't do that. So I was like, I was mad because I was like, damn, only if I wasn't in school I'll be able to go, and even when like a lot of people don't know, I represented Puerto Rico in the amateurs, a lot of international tournaments against DR. And what they do is before we fly out to, DR, Ecuador, Colombia, before we fly to those places, they'll have a camp back in Puerto Rico,
Mhm.
like probably
Yeah.
like a week or 2 weeks. And some of those camps I missed, and I was mad because it's like, that's where I wanted to be. That's where, I'm getting ready for a big tournament, continental tournament, or this tournament. And, that's where I wanted to be. I wanted to be with the team. I wanted to train, wake up early, run, and do everything the right way.
Yeah, I think that most people can't handle that. But I also think that when you can balance it out, it makes you, I think that even a better fighter, to be honest, because I think that that skill, that discipline that you have, you apply that to the sport too. And
Right,
also, like you said, when you're not too focused in just one thing, you get to breathe and, get in love with the sport because you're not saturated with it.
right,
So I think it's a good thing for you. Right now, we're seeing that you've made some great highlights. I've seen you with the promotions of Top Rank, for example, for your debut. I know that you were in the undercard for Shakur Stevenson. And I wanted to ask you, right now, you're not with one specific promotional company, right? You're just
right,
making your way independently.
right. Yes.
And I think I had an interview with Ofacio Falcon, and he told me that he's the same way. And I spoke with him about that, and I think in the early stages of your career, it's difficult to do that. But also, if you can get ahead in the business and understand it better, you can leverage that because you get
Yes.
to make a name independently. So when a big promotional company comes with a contract or with an offer, they have to match your numbers. You have
Yeah.
a standard, you can ask for more. So I like the that you have the discipline to do that because many fighters don't do it and they don't get enough leverage to negotiate their career. So I wanted to congratulate on that.
Thank.
Of course, right now we're seeing that the fighters that are nearby you, for example, Shakur Stevenson, which he's young, but he's like an accomplished fighter right now, three-time
Yeah.
world champion in different divisions. And to me, he's the best lightweight in the world. I know that
Right.
many people don't agree with me. Many people think it's Tank Davis, but personally, I prefer the Shakur style better because I think he's an intelligent man in that ring. Tank also, but I don't know. I just like a little bit more of Shakur Stevenson.
Yeah.
Growing up with those kind of peers, do you think it made you different that because you're a young fighter, but the fighters at your age maybe don't have the opportunity to get to know these kind of names of talents? Did you have them as mentors in your upbringing?
Um. Well, so when I started boxing, I started boxing at around. I started training at 5 or 6. I didn't compete until I was 12. When I was 5 or 6, I was playing baseball, basketball, football. I was doing everything. once I got to 12, that's when I kind of stuck to uh boxing, baseball, and basketball. And I did a little bit of football still, but it wasn't a lot. And at that time when I was 12, Shakur, it was he went from Jersey to Virginia. He moved, so he wasn't over here. And
Oh.
once I got a little bit of old, once I got older, once I was about 14, 15, 16, that's when I kind of knew about him because he was going to the Olympics, and
Mhm.
everybody's like Shakur, Shakur, Shakur. So that's when I knew about him. I did my homework, I did my research. I'm like, damn, that boy sharp. And he from where I'm from. He from Newark. So just me seeing that, it motivated me, and then seeing him turn pro, that's when it pushed me. I actually had a camp with him, and during COVID, it was when he fought Toka Khan. I was in camp with him in Houston for like a week, and then we went to Vegas for 5 weeks, and that was like a great experience. I got to see how he trained. I was like, we was all in the same house. His room was here, my room was right here. So we was doing everything, everything together. I was able to see, how a world champion, how one of the best fighters of my generation, what he do when he wake up all the way to when he go to sleep for 6 weeks straight. So that was a big blessing, and I just appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. Also, you've made your first three fights in New Jersey. I think one in Atlantic City, the other two at the Prudential Center, if I'm not mistaken. But right now, Puerto Rico is becoming. Puerto Rico has always been a great country for boxing. We love boxing. We love the sport. But we had our couple of rough years in which we
Yeah,
didn't have that much activity. But right now we're getting big opportunities because we had
right.
Hitchens versus Paro here, Subriel versus Paro here. To fight in Puerto Rico as a professional fighter, is that a goal of yours?
Oh, definitely. I have a lot of family in Puerto Rico, in Villalba, Mayagüez. So, like, and I have a lot of fans from fighting the amateurs there, and is even the card with Jake Paul, even me
Mhm.
just being there, it means a lot because that's a part of me. I'm Puerto Rican. It's in Puerto Rico. I would love to experience that, but also it's a different atmosphere. When you at a fight in Puerto Rico, you got your fans with drums, like they banging on the
Yeah.
seats when you come out. Like it's a difference. Over here, we don't have that. And I
Mhm.
always tell people like the fighting atmosphere in Puerto Rico is different from the U.S. And I feel like every fighter deserves to experience it one time in their life.
Yeah, I agree with you because I've had the opportunity of going to many fight nights in the US and here, and it's totally different. The
Different.
people is loud as hell here. They make
Yeah.
noises. Like you said, they bring the drums, they bring everything. So
Horns.
yeah, it's great. I like it very much. I wanted to get back to something that you said previously. You participated in many different sports, but where would you were you as good in baseball, for example, as you were in boxing or in basketball? Which sport were you better at?
So when I was younger, I was real good in baseball. So that was like how I am in boxing. That's how I was in
Mhm.
baseball. I did like I was in a regular league, and then I did All Star League, and then the All Star League competed in Puerto Rico, and we went against around. We went all over the island competing against different teams, and baseball was the sport that I was like my best in, but I just didn't like it. I didn't like baseball. Um, I just like the only thing that I liked about it was being with my friends. That's the
Mhm.
part. But the actual game, like, I never watched a baseball game ever, so I just really didn't like it. And so as I got older, I like boxing just stuck with me, and then I ended up going to a boxing fight, and then I'm like, yeah, I want to get back in the gym and I want to take it serious. And every day after that, I've been taking it more serious. and everything else just fell off. I didn't want to do anything else. When I went to high school, I wasn't going to a baseball tryouts or none of that, you know. So that's kind of how it happened for me.
Yeah, I think that it's two different people, the ones that play baseball and the ones that box, because it's another pace. You know, baseball
Yeah,
it's a little bit more slow. You get action, but only at certain times in the game. So in boxing, you know how it is. It's all action at all moments. So I think your personality maybe affects even the sport that you like, because
yeah,
obviously if you want that danger, that adrenaline that boxing gives you, I think that you cannot find that in any other sports. Maybe
exactly.
MMA because it's fighting too, but other than that, I think the other sports are different in that way. When you started to take this sport seriously, were your father always like supporting you, or did he prefer another career for you at that moment?
Um, so I feel like it just happened, you know, because he wanted me to defend myself, but I didn't think he wanted me to fight at the time.
Exactly.
So he was all about taking me to the gym. He was all about letting me spar because he knew that that was a part of, learning to defend myself. But then it was just like, when like for you, if you had a sibling sparring and they doing good, you cheering them, you happy for them. So at the time you don't know, like you don't it's just a
Mhm.
happy moment. But then when it's like, all right, he's actually good, but we gotta get him better. So we're gonna get somebody else in to that with more experience that's better than him so he could learn. That's when I feel like it kinda hit him and he was like, oh, all right. But I always like even when a person with more experience came in, I always did good. It was
Mhm.
just I didn't have enough experience. I had to learn a couple things. Then as time got on, I was doing what I was supposed to do. So for him, it kind of happened, subtle. But for my mom, she hates it. It's just,
Yeah,
she hates seeing me
I
getting a
imagine.
ring. When I'm fighting and I'm preparing for my fights, her stomach be hurting. She's like, "Oh my God, no, no,"
Mhm.
But she get through it.
Yeah, yeah, I think it's understandable. You know, it's a dangerous game. That there's no way around it. I think that's why we fell in love with the fighters and their stories, because we know that it's something uh, that's not for everybody. That's the
Right,
truth. Not every person cannot be a boxer,
right.
because it's dangerous, and I take a special person to do so. Keith, right now I heard your interview again with my friend Junior from Sport Legends, and I like the I think that you said, because he asked you about a potential opportunity for a world title at any moment, and I know that for any boxer that's the dream, that's like the ultimate goal for the fighters. But you spoke to me like an intelligent young man, because you told him that you wanted to take things at a good pace. You were not rushing anything in your career, and I think that's the way that you can actually develop in
Right.
this sport. So, but right now your division is on fire. We got the titles changing hands every couple months. You got a new champion. When you see that kind of things, that I imagine that maybe you want to get to that point, but not be one of those champions that can lose the title very quickly. If not, you want to maintain yourself as a boxer. In terms of what's happening in your division, of the ones that are at the top of their game, that maybe by the time you get there, there will be another names at that point.
Uh-huh.
But with the ones that are world champions today, which one are the ones that you maybe look and you say, I know that maybe I'm not ready up to this point, but I would like to get the opportunity to get in front of that style of that man, because I like what he do in the ring.
Yeah, so it's two people in my weight class that are like in the top five, and I've already shared the ring with them, and by me sparring them, it like now I know that I could be at that stage, and I'm able, you know, because I'm there sparring with him right now. So in 3 more years, where I'm much stronger, smarter, more comfortable in the ring, like I already know that I'm gonna be well prepared. But fighters in my division right now, you know, uh, I like it's hard. It's hard because
Mhm,
like how
mhm.
you said they all good, but I really like, you know, I really like Inoue. I feel like I love his style, and you know he's super explosive. He's strong, and I feel like anybody that's able to beat him, they will be solidified in boxing. You know, and me, I'm the type of person that I don't like when it's time for me to get a world title. I'm not picking to see which one is the easiest fight. Nah, I want the hardest fight because, like how you said, once you get the title, now you want all the titles. So, you know, by me just, I want the best one. I'm targeting him first, and then I'm gonna get each one down the line. So I'll say anyway, you know, cause he's the man.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too. And he's not just a man in the weight class. I think he's one of the best of the world. You know, I maybe
Yeah,
put him in the top three with Crawford and Usyk, but there's no one in boxing that are at that level. Just those three guys, for me, are the pound for pound kings. So I think that's a great name. Keith, looking at the near future, do you have maybe a a date for a fight, or are you just in training right now with not anything on the table specifically?
yeah, I have a fight February 1st in Newark at the Prudential Center. So, you know, I had 2 fights there already. You know, this is gonna be another great fight there at the Prudential Center. You know, I'm just looking to put on a great show and just keep putting on for my people, keep bringing excitement, you know, keep, you know, like how you said, Puerto Rico and boxing had a little drought. So, you know, I'm just keeping the ball rolling and keeping, you know, keep putting on for my people.
Perfect, perfect. Champ, that's great. I had a great time with you. I hope it's not the last, and you know we will support you in your next fight. I want to see you grow. So thank you so
Thank,
much for the opportunity, man.
thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
There you have it, people. Keith Colon.